Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dash Traders Newsroom. And this is the #1 best trader competition week 2 review. And my name is Michael DeJoy. I'm Director of Educational Services here at Dash Trader, and I'm a licensed professional. I'm joined by the CEO and founder of Cobra Trading, who is sponsoring our event, Chad Hesse. Chad, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
It's awesome. It's great to have you here on Super Bowl Sunday weekend as well, as we were just talking about some of the one exciting competition. We have our own exciting competition. We have the #1 best trader competition sponsored by Cobra Trading. And this is the week of February 6th going to February 10th. And let's jump right into our traders. I mean, we had best 1,063 with a massive $22,000 gain. Chad, I mean, so do you see people trading like this in real life on their live accounts, or is this just the competition?
I mean, of course, not the norm, especially given I know they only started with 100. So yeah, that's pretty unreasonable. I'd be lying if I didn't say that even live accounts swung for the fences sometimes, but we have no control over that, obviously. But
Yeah, no doubt. There's a lot of those people who are they call them what, YOLO traders. You only live once. I guess that's the term
right.
these days.
So yeah, of course, we look at the both the biggest winners and biggest losers for risk and curiosity. But is it common? No. Does it happen? Absolutely. With the runners we've seen over the past years, yeah, there are days like that, and unfortunately, there's sometimes a negative in front of those numbers.
Yeah, I guess it goes both ways, right?
Absolutely.
So this time we have a completely green top 10 of our traders here. So really, we do have best 1063, way ahead with 58,000 in total gains. But #2 trader is best 1,054. With $2,800 in gains today, which is respectable, and then followed up by third place, which is best 1064, who made 957, which seems to be within the realm of what I've seen people trading, making $1,000 a day or $2,000 a day, up $22,996 in the competition thus far. But really, it's anybody's third place. I mean, even second place is achievable. It could be anybody's contest still at this. We still have 2 weeks left, and the competition is going very green at this point. But I guess that also is somewhat like kind of contingent on market conditions.
Right. 1063 has a bad day of that magnitude. They're right back in the mix of it. So
that's right. If 1063 has a bad day and doesn't watch their risk, it could be anybody's shot for first place again. And we've seen that happen. Now, we do always say that people should try to trade as if this is real money and make it as realistic as possible. But as you and I were talking about just before the presentation started, you got some of these what we call poppers and droppers. Some of these low price names, when they pop in there, like we saw that HSCS, which we've seen on here a couple of times. That was one of the most actively traded symbols. It's $3.33. When I bring up the charts on these, you can see you catch one of them right, and you could pretty much lock in at least a significant amount of gains in the competition. So what are your thoughts on these stocks that the traders are trading? Obviously, Lyft is a pretty well-known company. I think they had earnings.
Well, I think the key with any of these low price stocks is risk management. Of course, we don't teach strategy or do any one-on-one strategy, but the reality is with any trader, risk management is the key. If it's a $3 stock and your boat's loaded and it goes to $2, that could wipe out most people's accounts. So I think with any stock, whether it's 3 or 300, but much more so on the low price stuff, these people have to have stops and honor their stops and have trading rules and trading journals. They just you just can't extend yourself on these little plays, and far too often we see that, at least from Cobra's end.
Yes, absolutely. And in these low price stocks, liquidity does become an issue, right? If you have a big position. Fortunately, in our competition, we limit the share size. I think it's 2,500 shares is the maximum. But we also always see our old standby stocks. We always see the stocks like AMC is on here very often, Tesla's on here, AMD. We have this is Nordstrom. We've seen it on here a couple of times. SI, Amazon, obviously, these are stocks that people tend to go to trade those frequently. They tend to
Yeah.
be the go-to stocks. Usually AMD is the most commonly traded.
Yeah, I mean, a good old Carvana, the vending machine of cars. That's been a real popular one.
Oh, forget about it.
The COVID.
Carvana's been all over the charts these days, right?
It's been a wild one.
Yeah, it's been a wild one for sure. It's been up, it's been down, it's been up, but certainly made a big comeback. And we always like to remind everybody, review your strategy. It's anybody's competition still. And if you've made some mistakes, consider what you've learned from those mistakes and try not to replicate them. Remember, no overnights. Overnights are not allowed. And if you have not traded yet, be sure to start trading, which was today. Basically, you want to make sure you had started trading. If you have not started trading and you're just trying to coast out through the competition, I think today is the day that you will be disqualified. But I think pretty much everybody has already started trading. If you're in a trading competition, part of it is one of the conditions is you need to trade. Let's jump right in. Right. 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Some noise here. All right. So the January effect rally is it running out of steam? That's the big question on everybody's mind. This is the first down week since the end of 2022. And the big question is the market finally starting to cool off? What are your thoughts on the market right now, Chad?
I think it's a tough one, right? It doesn't make any sense when the Fed comes in and says one thing and responds in a different way. Or, I think anytime there's Fed news the week
Fed
prior
talk.
or the week of, it throws everything off. So it's a tough one. I think it's natural. We're going to back off. We got to have a down day sometime.
Mm-hmm.
But it's anyone's game, right? I honestly, I couldn't even guess. I'm not the analyst in the room.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to tell. I think when it comes, there's trading opportunities in every day, both long and short. It really just comes back to traders having a plan and following it. Yeah.
I think you're right. I mean, it's always the trader who has a plan and has a disciplined approach will have consistency, and in trading, consistency is key, and consistency is king as well. So the question I have, and this is anybody, you don't have to be an analyst to be able to answer this. What are your thoughts on inflation? Is inflation going to make a comeback? Has the Fed gotten this wrong yet again? They said that inflation is starting to cool off. What are your thoughts on inflationary concerns? Certainly, we saw a comeback in the US dollar yesterday.
I mean, inflation, again, affects everyone so much, whether it's wages, whether it's stocks, whether it's mortgage rates, you name it. I mean, it's not tough for it's not easy for anyone, right? I think I saw average wages or the effect on wages was like a 9% increase for the year. So if you didn't make 9% more this year, you're essentially behind the game because of inflation.
Yep.
So yeah, it's not a pretty scenario, and I'm not going to say whether or not they're making the right or wrong decisions, but definitely affects everyone.
Yeah. So, and I saw this. I was joking about this one. I saw a Mimi with a rapper, and he had a like a gold chain that ended with a pack of eggs. And I guess that's stating that I guess there's a lot of inflation in eggs. They did say that that it had started to cool off, but I guess the only true test is the test of time. We're going to see how this plays out, and certainly, you're right. I mean, every time you have a market that's up for 4 or 5 weeks, basically we've been mentioning that this is the January effect. Usually this is caused for the stocks that are like the dogs of the Dow or the dogs of the NASDAQ, that they have this kind of January effect where they're bought up because everybody sold them off to kind of book the loss and wash some gains. And then they're bought back in January, which causes the January effect. But because 2022 was pretty much down across the board, the entire market had the January effect. And that might be what's starting to run out of steam. That might be what's coming into play. Then the other thing that we've gotten is we got, 1 second. Okay, 1 second. We got ChatGPT, which is what everybody's been talking about. So who are the big beneficiaries for ChatGPT in the markets here? We got, Microsoft, Google, Amazon Web Services. What are your thoughts as a business owner? What will the effect of ChatGPT potentially be? Have you done any, have you looked into it at all?
I mean, I have limited knowledge, on the subject matter, but I think what you're going to see, well, we hopefully don't see, and it's almost scarier if we don't see it, is the trend towards generic answers. And, if it's social media or just filler, right? No one wants an internet with full of filler of standard scripted responses. So I think,
Yep.
I think there's no winners if it ends up like that, I guess. If you're in college, right, and a lot easier to write a paper, but I'm long past that. so I don't, the winners, and I'm not familiar with exactly the plays or the ETFs that hold, all the ChatGPT stuff. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, because it's so new, right? I mean, yep. 6 months ago, I hadn't even heard it. Now it's every other article. So.
Yeah, no doubt. It certainly has become the buzzword, and we've seen over the course of our long trading and brokerage careers that we've gotten a lot of these buzzwords. It seems like it's one of these buzzwords these days. Everybody's got like ChatGPT in the works, or GPT in the works. I think though that from my very, very beginning analysis, that it looks like Microsoft seems to be the kind of the biggest leader and or beneficiary, largely due to Microsoft, cloud services, and potentially some of the other cloud service providers like Amazon has, Amazon Web Services, and certainly Google did their release, but it certainly did not, like, they might have caught the tail end, and we'll see how that plays out over time. But now we have something that you might actually, might have a strong opinion on. What is your thoughts on Super Bowl Sunday, the Chiefs or the Eagles?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I'm not a fan of either. We have employees on each side of the fence here, so they're battling it out. I'm more interested in their banter as to why they think their team's the best and going back and forth than the actual game. But I'm a Vikings fan. The Eagles absolutely destroyed my Minnesota Vikings. So I think the Eagles have the edge there. That defensive line is mean.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's funny because I'm not an Eagles fan. As a Giants fan, they also destroyed the Giants. So I'm going to be rooting for the Chiefs, and hopefully Mahomes can pull it out. I know they are the underdog. One of the interesting things, though, is that not only are they the underdogs, but the trend is that the day after the Super Bowl Sunday generally is a bullish day, and this is an interesting kind of piece of information, because it's like Thanksgiving. Everybody gets together on Super Bowl Sunday, has a Super Bowl party, like, oh, did you see this stock, or did you see that stock? So the day after Super Bowl Sunday tends to be a pretty bullish day. And, that's something that we should certainly keep an eye on and just be aware of. And maybe this year is different, but the historical trend is post Super Bowl Sunday, it tends to be a pretty bullish day. All right. Well, listen, I'm going to jump into the chart analysis. Thank you so much for joining us. Would you come back again to go through the results with me, Chad?
Oh, I'd love it. I'd love it. And even if you're not in the competition, feel free to go to our website and download a demo of DAS. It's free. I think it's a 14-day free live demo. So you can grab that off the website if you want. You can play along and have your own little contest. It won't be part of this contest, but there's always another one. So
That's right. You're going to be sponsoring another one of our upcoming competitions. And certainly tell us some of the key points about Cobra trading. Why should traders come and trade with Cobra?
yeah, gosh, that's a long story. I started Cobra in 2003. It's been a long journey. We've come a long way. Of course, we cater to the day trader, 25,000 and plus. We have a big niche market with the short traders. So our short inventory is some of the best. And I think it's our customer service and dedication. So you can jump on our chat anytime on our website, talk to the brokers. Every chat is answered by a broker. But yeah, I think there's definitely a difference between us and our competitors, and invite you to try it, and starting with a demo and go from there.
Yeah, I think really from my own visits to your office, I saw top-notch customer service, a real commitment to taking care of the clients. Almost, we went to that shindig together. I really don't know what else to call it, but it was a shindig for sure that Cobra sponsored out there. And it was almost like you were friends with a lot of your customers, and that you'd all gone back a long time. And that's a real great personal touch to things. So, Chad, thank you so much for joining us. I'm just going to quickly go through the charts.
Perfect.
And wrap things up.
Well, thanks for having me, and good luck to the rest of the contestants getting that first place, because we can't wait to meet them in New York.
That's right. We can't wait to have everybody come to New York at the NASDAQ market site.
All right.
So let's jump in here and have a great weekend. And I can't wait to talk about the Super Bowl results with you next time.
All right. Hey, thank you. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Bye-bye, Chad.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. All right, so we got our charts up here. I'm going to very quickly go through the charts. This is the chart of the SPY. Let's go back a little bit further with the data. This was a pretty bearish reversal, but so far all this is a pullback. We're just a pullback to the moving averages. How the market reacts off these moving averages is going to be key. And then here we have the NASDAQ, pretty similar story, slightly less, a little bit more of an exaggerated move down. This is Microsoft, one of the leaders, with a little bit of a more exaggerated move down. I think the big one that we should look at was Google. They kind of got wrecked. Google, not Alphabet. Google not doing so hot. Certainly on the, a more bearish or relatively weak looking chart. GBTC, right? GBTC, Bitcoin taking a very big move down. We've seen that every time Bitcoin is taking a big move down, that also tends to either is led by tech or lagged by tech, but whatever the case is, certainly a big move down on Bitcoin. GLD, a couple of weeks back, we mentioned that it was time to get out of gold, and certainly it was. We've moved back quite considerably on gold. And of course, we said that oil was going to be making a comeback and potentially making a comeback, and it has. We've moved off the lows on the oil contract, and that does not bode well for potential for inflationary concerns. So certainly we need to keep an eye on oil because that is our indicator of inflation. All right, I'm going to jump right back to the charts. And stay up to date with all things DAS by signing up to our monthly newsletter, and simply fill out the form at the bottom of the webpage. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, DAS Trader TV. for our newsroom reminders. Follow us on social media, and that is on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I want to thank everybody in the competition. Can't wait to watch the Super Bowl this weekend and see who wins that competition. See everybody next week at week 3 of our #1 Best Trader competition review. Trade well, everybody. See you next week.